Hello and welcome to my channel. It's me, Kallum here, and this video is going to be simply about me telling you who I am and why you guys listen to me and why I talk about what I do. So tune in. I'm going to be talking about everything from the beginning right through to where I am now, right through to where I want to go in the future. And everything will be split up into chapters so you can listen to the parts that you really want to listen to, so you don't just have to listen to me talking all about myself. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoy, and I've honestly been putting this off for so long because I didn't really know what to talk about or where to start. So let's just dive straight in. So like I said, I'm Kallum here, and I'm a 26-year-old agency owner based in Manchester. And I have built several businesses over the last 5 years that have been a mixture of successful businesses and unsuccessful businesses. And I even tried my hand at a few things that didn't even get off the ground. And thanks to that, I've learned an array of things that have led me to where I am now, which is where I help people grow their own businesses, predominantly service-based, all over the world. And it's absolutely awesome. And I can't say it's not thanks to the things that I've learned over the years of my own business, and also things that I've learned before that, both in my childhood and in my own life, that I want to share with you today to see if you could take anything from, or if you're just nosy, you're going to find out about myself. So, first part, childhood, growing up. So for me, I'm actually originally from Hull, which is in East Yorkshire, and I grew up, I'm the youngest of four to a single mum. Parents have been separated all my life, but Dad's a very big character in my life. You see him all the time, don't mind sharing that. And I've got to say that I come from a very loving family. There ain't really going to be a sob story here of I come from a broken home where, you know, a really shit childhood or anything like that, because I didn't. I'm very lucky. I had a very hardworking mum, a very hardworking dad. Even my siblings were very, very hardworking. And don't get me wrong, you know, we were a very, very, humble family is the best way I could explain it, because we didn't come from money. A lot of people in where I grew up don't. So therefore, it helps really having that figure, for example, of my parents and my siblings in my life, working really, really hard, and I've implemented that for myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm the only self-employed one. But it's been great watching that and growing up, seeing my siblings as well go through that, as well as my mum and my dad, because both my parents, my dad is very like working class dad, working man's pub, plays snooker. My mum is life of soul of the party. Everyone loves her, family loves her. But don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy at times. I'm not going to dive right into that, but it wasn't easy at times, and I can't imagine it was not easy for her in particular, bringing up 4 children by herself, having 4 jobs at once to make sure that my brother could do his rugby, I could go on a school trip, my eldest sister could do whatever she needed to do, and so on and so on. So I really couldn't imagine it. I really did come from something like that, and my nana played a really big part in this as well. So when my mum was working 4 jobs, I also had my nana, who was also a very hard-working lady in my life as well. So no sob story of, like, I come from a broken home or anything like this. Like I said, I come from a very loving background and a very pushing background to be who you want and strive what you want to be, which has obviously helped in my journey of being self-employed. And it's really humbling to talk about it. And I do talk a lot about this in public when I'm at universities and so on and so on. Because I do think everyone these days expects a massive sob story from, you know, a lot of the very successful entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen and that it's not a catalyst in that. But I never really found my thing when I was growing up. All my siblings had their own thing of who they are. They knew their identity. I never had any hobbies. I was a massive nerd. Gaming. I was a World of Warcraft kid. I'm currently 12 years clean. Like, I'm nothing like any of my siblings either. So I never really had this thing, but I remember when I was younger, always wanting to own my own business. And this really came into light when I started from the age of 13 on a weekend. Told you I'm a boring child, bear this in mind. At the age of 13, I started volunteering at a local charity shop for an independent dog rescue. And I absolutely loved it. Like, it was absolutely amazing. I learned so much there. And I did that for about 10 years until it dissolved during COVID. And it was just, was it before COVID? Was it before COVID? I think it was before COVID. Anyway, I did it for 10 years and it was absolutely amazing. So obviously up to 13 to 16, I did it every weekend, half term, like non-stop. I was there all the time, completely volunteering. And I learned so much just, working. And I loved it. I found it really, really interesting. And I learned a lot about contracts, sponsorships. And I was around a lot of like older people in particular, such as like 80-year-old women, who I will talk about in a second. But I learned so much from doing this. And then when I became 16 and I got my first like paid part-time job whilst at college, obviously I had to reduce my time there, but I still helped when I could. And then this obviously started, especially when I became self-employed. Just as and when I could, I'd go and help them. But I learned so much, such as contract signing. I learned a lot of business when I was there. But there's main two ladies called Val and Pat. And I talk about Val and Pat quite a lot to people. And Val and Pat are two elderly ladies who have now moved around the corner from my dad's house. I just like dropped my light. Great. So two elderly ladies that moved around the corner from my dad's house to be closer to myself because I was like their adopted son. And I learned a lot from them. And they've really strived for everything and they've been a massive impact in my life. They've run a lot of businesses themselves, very successfully. And like Val is a very extraordinary lady. She used to drive like cars in cornfields, in corn races, against farm boys while her dad was travelling in a jazz band. Like, exceptional stories. I learned so much from these ladies. I learned a lot from the other people there, the other volunteers and so on. And I do owe, once again, a lot of that success to me in business, to the etiquette and the mindset I learned of hardworking people there, as well as striving for my own things, as developing from it. And it was absolutely lovely. And I absolutely enjoyed it. And I will always talk about it. I'll always talk about Val and Pat. And I was telling someone about this once, and I was like, ooh, it's that catchphrase, be more Val. Be more Val, because there's a lot more stories, but she'll kill me if she watches this and finds out. Sorry, Val. Kind of skipped over school and college here. So secondary school, shit show. Didn't really like it. Got bullied from like year 7 for being the weird kid. Year 11, and I was always in my brother's shadow because he was a sports prodigy. And then year 10, 11, like the final 2 years of high school, I started coming into my own a bit, started getting my own friends because he was no longer there anymore, so I wasn't in his shadow. And yeah, it was really good. The bully was still there, but we persevered. And then I went to a college and I did catering for 3 years. And my first day of college, I was a massive introvert. I was not what I am now. I could not have done this thing. And I became really, really confident. I'll be honest, my first year of college, started finding my confidence, started making new friends, really cool. My second year, I became an absolute dick. I had this newfound confidence. I was quite cocky, quite arrogant, because I'd never really had this before. And a lot of people were interested in me because they found like my humour and people found it really funny. And I was like, oh my God, people like me. And I never had this before. I'd never had like a bit of a light on me. And that is what I had because this course was very small. It was very intimate, and it was great. But the second year I did become a bit of a dick and I nearly didn't get onto my third year. I practically had to beg to get onto it. So I was like, no, like I'll change, I'll get onto it. And we had a lovely little Irish lady called Mary that was one of our tutors. And do I attempt a bad Irish accent? One day she went, Kallum, let's have a talk. And she went, you're being a bit of a dick. I was like, okay. She went, I just thought I'd tell you, you're being a bit of a dick and you need to sort your stuff out. Otherwise you're not going to get anywhere in life, never mind this course. That was a bit like a whoa, like I really respected this lady, and I was a bit like, oh shit, because like Val and Pat don't see this side of me, my mum and family don't see this side of me. This lady was seeing this person develop in front of her, and she was like, you need a bit of an intervention right now because you are developing now what a lot of people develop when they're 14, 13, but you're developing it at the age of 17, 18. It's going to shoot straight to your head. You need knocking down a few pegs or two. And I really appreciate that to this day. But yeah, no, college was amazing. Once again, lots of tales from that. Still friends with some of the people from there. Probably won't appreciate me sharing them. But I guess this is where I started really exploring even more the entrepreneurial side of stuff, especially school as well. Because school, I was that kid that was selling sweets and stuff out of the bag. And when I did food tech, I was selling my flapjack out of my bag. And my mum wondered why it never came home. And in college, it started happening even more. I was looking at how I could make money. I think I started like a gardening business and all this other stuff. It was really good. And I've always been down this route. But when I was 17, I wanted to go back to Val. So I'd finished college one day and Val goes, oh, can you come to this event that's in where my college was, like round the corner? I was like, yeah, of course I can. What is it? So it's the local council talking about how we can help people from troubled areas or like council estates and things get into work. And we noticed that your charity is a lot of younger people. I was like the first one alongside a girl named Lauren in the charity. would love it if you can come along and talk about it. So she said, can you come? I said, yeah. So Val goes on stage at this event. I'm sat in the audience with Pat. And the first thing she says, doesn't even introduce herself, doesn't say thank you so much. She points at me with her walking stick and goes, if that boy doesn't have his own business by the age of 30, I will be coming back to haunt him if I am not here to find out why. And trust me, he knows he don't want that. And it's been thanks to things like that once again that I'm like, yeah, there's really something in this for me. I've played this game when I was a kid. I've wanted to do it when I was in school. I've been thinking about it now. I've helped this charity. So I really started going down this avenue. And I turned 18, started working a lot more, and then things started to spiral from there. So that's kind of the beginning of the journey. And yeah, a lot of people shape that. I've probably missed quite a few things out doing this, but I do want to keep quite a bit of this still personal. But it's more what shaped me into the person that I am today, and a lot of these were a part of that. Okay, so the first business. This is where it gets saucy. So this was obviously quite a few years after college. I've had quite a few different jobs by now, worked in nightclubs, everything like this. And it comes to the first business. So I've no money. I don't come from a financial or, I don't have any daddy's money or anything like that. So I don't have any. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really educated on money when I was younger. A lot of people still are educated on money now. So I didn't have any savings. I didn't really understand credit. I didn't do any of this stuff. So I finally wanted to launch my own business. And what I wanted to launch originally was a modern day tea room in my home city, because nothing happened. So I wanted to make, like, if you are in the UK, I want to make like the Alchemist of tea rooms. Like, it was great, like dried ice, everything. And I knew I wanted to do it. I found a place, I had the business plan, started going on a few business courses, and it was great. And by business course, I don't mean like university, I mean like ones that were ran by other local entrepreneurs to learn more about business and so on and so on. So the business, it was going to be called the Brew Box. Anyone can take that. Take the name, do what you will with it. My sister came up with that name for it, the Brew Box. And as stuff does in business, it goes to shit. So I found a location, we got it, and I was like, right, I've been through this process getting the loan, and they'd approved it. And it was like, you've got a month to accept it, otherwise you have to do the whole process again. So right, okay, so I accepted it. So I got £15,000 dropped in my bank at the age of 21. 15 grand. Woo, never seen that amount of money in my life. Weird. I remember screenshotting it. I think I was like negative £3 in my bank. So I had £14,997 in the bank. Very frustrating, but I still screenshotted it. And I remember going to the bank actually, and I was like, oh, can we just transfer this to the right account? And the guy looked at me and went, if you don't mind me asking, if you just like won the lottery or something. So it looks a bit dodgy when you look at my previous payments and you're like, eh? So yeah, so I get this loan, and the people that was meant to give us the property for the tea room end up ghosting me. But they said, you need to get these documents, this certifications and things like this for the property. And I got them all. I'd spent about £3,000 on it. And then they ghosted me, to the point one day I actually just turned up to their office and I was like, what's going on? I've got this money sat here. I'm actually started making loan repayments already and I don't have anything. So I'm practically now nearly like £4,000 out of pocket out of a £15,000 loan, and it's all gone missing. Well, spent, gobbled up, whatever. They went, oh yeah, sorry, we've given it to someone else. I was like, oh, right. But because I was so naive in business and everything like that, I couldn't claim the money back. It was my thing for spending it. Lucky to the person that went in the property after, because they got to use the certification I used because it was on the council's documents and stuff, so they could use it and they didn't have to pay for it. So you're welcome to whoever got that. And so from that, I was like, right, what do I want to do? And in this tea room, I wanted to do a bit like an eco-friendly corner. I wanted to just make it quite an eco-friendly place, because where I grew up is like a fishing city. It's fishing heritage. I come from a fishing background. My dad's fisherman and things. So I wanted to do an eco corner to care for the planet. And I actually had a business partner, which not a lot of people know about me if you know me personally. I had a business partner at the time, and they went, well, let's do that. Let's focus on that. Let's put the money into that, because no one does it here. No one does it in about a 60-mile radius. So let's do that. So I was like, perfect. So we did it, started the business, launched it, started going by normal events first. So we were booking them all. I go to my first event, and my friend Lauren drove me there. First event ever. So I got stuck in the back of the car. We're driving there, and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Started at market. And on the way there, we just hit this fog. This fog just came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, the turn-off's here. We saw the 300 yards, 200 yards, 100 yards on the side of the motorway. And she turned off. Anyway, that was for the petrol station, but because of the fog, we couldn't see it. She went over the curb, popped 2 tyres, and we both had a bit of whiplash. If she was something like, I think it was like a foot over to the side, we would have had a sign through the windscreen, would have been dead. So the business partner rang him. And I was like, can you come pick me up? He was like, yeah. So he picked me up, put the stuff in the back of his car. I still went to the event. So I was like, no, the universe is not being against me right now. I need to get there. So I got there, he dropped me off. He went back and sorted my friend out. We was fine, by the way. Someone came and helped her out, etc. Get to the event. I'm at this event for 6 hours. 6 hours. No one had even looked at my stock. Obviously, now looking back, I was completely at the wrong event. But I was at this event, and it wasn't until I was packing up that someone came over and they went, oh, no, can I just buy one of them, please? I remember it was £5.50. £5.50. So I paid for the tyres because my friend was helping me out, paid for the stall for the day, I paid for the stock, but I made £5.50. And it was a bottle of laundry detergent. And yeah, it's I remember it to this day. Really remember it. And I was like, that's it, I've done it. I've made some money. Don't matter how much, I've had to pay out today because of fuck-ups. I've made £5.50. And that was it. And then we ended up getting a little shop in an indoor market. Got loads of publicity, like absolute loads. Local radio, paper, bloggers, everything, absolutely everything. And the place went mad for us to the point that like every visitor to the city that came to visit the markets, we got a lot of funding because in 2017 Hull was a city of culture. They got introduced to myself and like, I'm a new local businessman, I'm doing this, it's great for the planet. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I realised it was PR and it made the council and things look good. But it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. But there's another little hiccup with this. I remember one day in bed, I was looking at my bank account for the business, just like, oh, let's check the accounts. Overall, £7,500 went missing. So I was, remember, by this point, so I'm £4,000 out of pocket, spent about £1,000 on stock, so I'm £5,000 out of pocket. Spent a bit of other expenses, but we've made money a bit at this point, obviously, so it's levelling out a bit. And £7,500 maximum went missing. And the business partner at the time had gambled it because he had access to it. And I do want to point out to this person is still my best friend to this date. And I really do want to point that out. And the reason why is because I could have reacted 2 ways. I could have got to court, I could have done whatever. However, all the fees and everything would have been more than what was taken. Or me and this friend sat down and realised I had a problem. And we sorted it out. And to this day, to my knowledge, and they are very honest with me, this person is still clean. They've not done anything in the form of gambling. They've nearly paid me back in full. As of recording this video, they've nearly paid me back in full. And we made it work. Was it a bump in the road? Absolutely. Did it affect a lot of the things that we was doing? Absolutely. Like, I can't not say it was, and that person also understands that. But we had this hiccup as well, where this happened. Anyway, with this business, it started to be a snowball effect. So by this point now, I've been asked to do a lot of public speaking. So I got to a keynote to 550 delegates. I spoke at my old college, which was funny because what I was doing was nothing to do with the course because I went to culinary college. I also got asked to go on podcasts, and I was in a local paper, and there was all these other things, which was really benefiting me, in particular in a small radius, because once again, the business was the only one of its kind in about a 60-mile radius. So it might not sound great now, it was great at the time, it's still great, I got it. But yeah, no, it was absolutely amazing. And then thanks to this, I got into business networking, which then is when I started finally being around like-minded people in business. And by this point, I've started researching a lot of different techs in business, kind of benefit my current business, and it couldn't. But I really started being obsessed with business and business tech and people in the business world, even that was nothing to do with what I was doing. It wasn't the point. I was looking at people with a similar mindset, just of business and growth and where they wanted to be and what they wanted to do and their background and their story. And so when I got into networking, I was looking for more public speaking gigs. I didn't talk about the retail business. I was looking for keynotes. I was looking for webinars, podcasts, everything that I'd been doing at other business places to meet more like-minded people. And it was absolutely amazing getting into this. And don't get me wrong, networking is amazing. I do love it. I will be doing a video on this if I haven't when you're watching this. Powers of YouTube. And it's really one of them. It's absolutely amazing. So yes, it was a great, great snowball effect into everything starting towards what I do now, which I'm not mad about. I'm really happy about it. And the reason I'm really happy about the snowball effect is because it started going towards my evolution. Like, I started to evolve. I was like, ooh, so we're, doing this quite a while now. We've gone fast forwarded a few years. Like, we've now gone into COVID. And shortly before COVID, I do want to mention it, is that a few months before, I started business coaching. I started doing all this. I started researching a lot more what I was doing now around these like-minded people and helping other people grow their business and work on their business. And because I was doing it, and a lot of people liked it because they could physically see my retail business doing what it was. But I realized that this was my passion, and I absolutely loved it. So what I did is in January 2020, so pre-COVID, I got rid of the shop. I chose to get rid of it, and there was lots of other reasons, but I chose to get rid of it because I really wanted to do this now. I really wanted to focus on this. And then if you fast forward a couple of months, COVID hits, and it was perfect because we went fully online. There was no more networking face-to-face, and I got to finally pursue this business because everyone that I was about to start meeting didn't know about anything else to do with me. There was kind of like, oh, there's this new guy that no one had met before because we're now online. And it was really good. Like, it was absolutely pivotal for me, and it was amazing to start getting into that coaching space. Because by this point as well, so I was getting into this COVID space. I'd also now become a governor of my old high school, which if anyone in the States is watching, it's like a PTA, but it's not parents. So it's great. And I started doing that to make more of an impact in the school that I was at. When I was growing up, and when I saw this, I wanted to do it. I was like, do I want to do this at my college or do I want to do this at my school? I had a great time at college. I had a shit time at school. So I wanted to start doing it there. And I love it, and it's been amazing. I've done it for 3+ years. It's been awesome, and I helped them drive careers because I wanted them to talk more about self-employment and not just the army or uni or anything like this, which we did and we achieved. And a lot of students were really finding it fascinating. They was asking for private meetings with me so we could talk about their journey, and they wanted to pick my brains on how did you do this, how did you do that, and I started getting into that. And then, so a few things I'm just going to kind of skim through is I started doing mini projects. I started my own magazine. Because when I was networking online, I was networking a lot of other places with lots of other people, and not a lot of these knew each other. And because of COVID, I wanted to make a magazine, both physical and digital. So I started Kwakazine, and it went really well. We only did a few issues, then I realized it's a lot of time. I can't put my focus into that. But I started doing that. I probably will bring it back at some point because I really enjoyed it. But I started doing Kwakazine, which was awesome. And I also was Quack Talks. I started working more on the brand Kwakademy. So I started Kwakademy Plus, which was a subscription group. Was great. I launched it, and in 24 hours, 30 odd people signed up to it. It was a paid subscription group, which was awesome. I don't do that anymore. It was a side project. Once again, I will do that again at some point. But all these things, as I was evolving, going through this evolution, I was launching things, but then realized as I was evolving, these things went in line with part of the evolution at that time. Then maybe in the future, when I know where I was going more, what I was wanting to do more, because I was getting busy. Like, people really wanted to work with me, really wanted to get to know me. I was starting to go on more podcasts, more live shows, featuring in magazines, but now other places around the country, thanks to being online and networking. And it was absolutely phenomenal, which is now some of these things I had to take the back burner because I had to work on other things such as the business and growing that and systems and processes in place. And how did I actually want to be? Was I a coach? Was I something else? And yeah, it was absolutely awesome starting to go through this evolution phase. And it all started COVID 2020. And it's been absolutely phenomenal since. Which led me to version 2.0. So I started going through this evolution phase, and it was great. I got there and I knew who I was and what I was doing and the clients I was working with. You know, over the space of 6 months, my prices tripled because I realized I was in more high demand and people were saying you're too cheap and all things like this. And I figured out what my values were, my mission, what was my roadmap, where do I want to be, what do I want to achieve. What clients do I want to work with is a big one. I realized what type of clients I want to work with. And then through this took me about 1.5 years. I do want to point that out. About 1.5 years, because then November-ish, December 2021. October, November, December 2021. I finally made the leap of leaving the one network, which was a big part of my business journey, of 2.5, 3 years. I left it because I just realized their values, their mission, and things just didn't align with me anymore. And this really bothered me because these people had really helped me a lot. But what I've learned is that when you get to a certain level, you have to also start being around people that level. You know, you're as good as the people around you. And that's not a bad thing to them people. It's not, you know, they're great friends. They've helped me to where I am now. But for me to go other places, I have to start being with them people and get with them people, which is part of business. You know, as your clients evolve and you get bigger and better clients, you start looking for more of them clients because, whoa, I've got one, I've got two, I've got three. Like, I want more. Wait, what's the next one above that? And that comes with your circles of people around you in business as well. And what's nice is all these people, once again, understand that, and they like the circles they're in. That's their circle, that's their pinnacle where they want to be and their tribe is. But for me, it wasn't there. So I had to reach out and get somewhere new, which I did, which came with version 2.0. And version 2.0 was, I sat down, I was like, right, I need to sort my full business out. I kind of want to evolve. So I was going by Quack Talks, was my business name. I went, nah, don't like that anymore. Don't like that anymore. And by the way, Quack, probably should say this at the beginning, stands for Kallum with a K. If you don't know what that means, that's why I always introduce myself as Kallum with a K, because I've had to do it all my life. But Kallum with a K is Quack. And I sat down and I really planned it out, and I started making this plan for 2022 launching New Year. And I started it in like October, November 2021, started it, and it was great. And everyone was like, oh my God, what's this big launch? What are you doing? I built a really good, you know, cult following. And I went from business coach to growth strategist. I went from Quack Talks to Kwakademy, because Quack Talks wasn't a thing anymore. Kwakademy was my business. It was an academy for people that wanted to grow their business. So I went from an independent person to an agency. You know, I started growing my team. I started working with better and high quality clients. And it was amazing for this version 2.0 because this was just the beginning of it. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. I know where I am. I know where I want to be. So I started developing down this route, and into the year, by this point I've got my own place because I'd broken up with my partner during COVID, and everything was great. I was in such a good place. And when during 2022, bills and everything started going up during the year, I made a big decision. My business was a great place. I was working remotely with all of my clients. So I packed up my full life. And by the way, this is like 4 or 5 months ago of recording this. Like, so this is recent. I packed up everything, packed up my apartment, put it in storage, aka my bedroom at my dad's, and I went travelling for a month to then come back, to then move into my dad's for 2.5 weeks, to then move city to a city I'd never lived in. But I'd been saying I wanted to live in for 2 and a bit years. 2 and a bit years. I wanted to live here, and I'm now in Manchester, which is great, and I love it, and I'm like really central. And I wanted to get here, and already being here, it's been amazing. But all this was part of that version 2.0 because I wanted to get that. I love where I'm from. I'm proud of where I'm from. But a bit like I'm saying about the circle of network, the circle of people, circle of clients, I had outgrown the city I was in. And for me to also progress, I needed to get out of that city. And that's why I also wanted to come here as well, as change of scenery. I never went to university. I never got to try a new city. So I came here. And I'm loving it. And business is blossoming. It's been absolutely amazing. And don't get me wrong, I have also mentally evolved since, in particular, coming back from traveling. And I've had a lot of epiphanies and thinking and realizing lots of things. And I don't mind saying that I'm now done with transactional relationships. I also have cut a few people out of my life, benefiting them and benefiting me. It's not a bad thing. I've cut a few people out of my life. And all of that is part of this version 2.0, which also ties in with my creatorpreneur journey, which I've been banging on out quite a bit at the moment. It's been great. So my creatorpreneur journey / version 3.0. So I'm in 2.0 at the moment. I'm working on version 3.0. And this is me working more on this. I've always been known as the guy with ideas. I've created content in passing. I've talked about the fact I've done podcasts, public speaking. I've done it all in passing, sharing my knowledge, my thoughts, my wisdom, you know, if I want to use that word. And I've never really focused on creating content. I've focused on creating a business. And I got this title and content from Ali Abdal, and I'll link the video below actually. Really, really good videos talking about how to be a content creator and build a business. But for me, I've created a business. I've got a successful business. I've got an agency, which is really, really cool. I've got 1 or 2 other things. And now I just need to concentrate on me as Kallum with a K and start creating content to help more people. And that's what this is about. It's about helping as many people, not just signing as many clients up. I can only take on so many clients at a time, but I can still help a lot of people. And that's what version 3.0 is. It's helping as many people as I can, creating more content, you know, growing all these things like my YouTube. I've got a newsletter. I've got everything like that. which you can all find in the description. Just plug in that little bit, just check it out. And, you know, even that, actually, I've worked on a really good YouTube description. I've built a lot of free ebooks and courses and programs and all this completely for free. But what's the future? What is the future of me, Kwakademy, everything like that? I don't mind admitting that I want to head towards, with the creative part, of like an influencer style thing. I know I have the personality for it. I want to do it. I want to help as many people as I can. I want to influence people. I can happily leave this planet or this earth knowing I've impacted someone's life. And that is what the full point of this is. Also working on my habits, my routines, and a lot of these other things, which I'll be sharing along the way whilst I'm doing it. The business, Kwakademy, it's an agency now, but growing the team on that. So I want to get some really, really cool clients. I want to get some account managers in there, get some more internal people. And for Kallum with a K, as a creatorpreneur, I want to grow my team. I want to get my own person recording this. I'm recording this on my phone. I want to get a complete setup. I want to have really cool videos and an amazing marketing team and people helping me grow that as well. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. And there's loads of more content coming as well. Once again, as of recording this, I'll probably redo this video in 6 months, 12 months. Might even do it next month if everything changes overnight. But yeah, no, the future is looking very, very bright. And you know what? As I said at the beginning of this video, I don't know why I've been putting this off. Like, I guess it's when you're saying it and putting it on the video with this journey, I'm making it more real. And it's been great. It's been super exciting. And whether you've watched this whole video, sections of this video, you've watched a bit and you got bored, but you've come back and you've watched the end, thank you. And welcome to the journey. It's going to be a hoot. It's going to be fun. I'm not boring. Oh, well, I don't think I am. I like National Trust sites. Who doesn't? Not sponsored. Unless they want to sponsor me. Anyway, thank you very much. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment if there's any videos you want me to see. And please make sure you check out the description. There's loads of cool stuff in there as well. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you on the next video.